All right, we'd like to welcome the winner of the Players' Championship, Rory McIlroy, to the Media Center. Rory, if you could start us off with a few comments on how it feels to now be a two-time champion of the Players' Championship at TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah, feels amazing. Someone just asked me there today how was my morning, and I said it was stressful. It was, but yeah, no, look, I'm super happy, super proud to win this event for a second time. Not a lot of people have done that over the 51 years of the Players, and I go back to 2009 when I first set eyes on this golf course, and certainly wasn't love at first sight. And I've had to learn to play this golf course and adapt my game to it in some ways. And to win for a second time is awesome.
And today wasn't a traditional finish. We're here on a Monday playoff, and we had a lot of fans out there. Can you touch on the atmosphere for a Monday morning at the Players' Championship?
Yeah, it was incredible. I was walking up 16 fairway, and I turned to my caddy Harry, and I was like, I can't believe how many people are here. Obviously, no one works in Jacksonville. It was amazing. I didn't expect there to be so many people out there today, and it created a great atmosphere, and certainly JJ and I really appreciated that.
Fantastic. We'll open to questions and start with Doug.
For someone whose driving was kind of on and off all week, the tee shot on 16 looked like it was close to perfect, and that set the tone for the day. Yeah,
it really did. Yeah, it was sort of nice when we were warming up on the range. The wind direction was sort of similar to 16, so I had a few extra drivers, just knowing that would be a key shot, knowing that I had the honor as well. I thought if I could get the ball in the fairway there, it sort of puts a little bit of pressure on JJ, and to step up and make that swing was awesome. As you said, with sort of struggling with the driver a bit this week as well. And then on the 9-iron on 17, what kind of shot were you trying to hit? Flight-wise, wind-wise, everything. Yeah. So I practiced this shot on the range. I just turned around and basically hit balls towards the third green, just to sort of try to replicate the wind I was going to get on 17. And I had the TrackMan out, and I have this little three-quarter shot, and my 9-iron goes 147 with that shot, and but with the wind, it was going right around that 130 number, which was the number I really wanted to hit it on 17. So I knew that was, even before I got up there, I knew that was the shot that I was going to hit, but felt like it was a little more sheltered by the green than it was on the tee. And, when my ball was in the air, I was telling it to get down. And obviously, JJ hit his up in the air. I couldn't believe that it went straight through the wind like that. So, it was tricky to judge. But, I sort of had that shot in my head, that little three-quarter 9-iron, and, made a good swing at it.
Sean Martin.
Just wondering whose idea it was to turn around and hit the balls towards 3 when you were warming up. Was it you or Harry?
I'll take the credit for that one. That was me. I think as well, this week it's been a challenge. I've went down to the back end of the range sometimes and been hitting the ball like in a left to right wind, and it's hard to obviously get both winds when you're warming up, but there were so many crosswinds this week that was. I'd go down to the back end of the range because I knew that was the same direction as like the first tee shot. So I sort of like knowing what that first tee shot's going to do. But then you turn around on the second hole, it's completely different. It's the first shot you've hit in that wind. So it can be a little bit tricky. But seeing there was no one around this morning, it was nice to be able to just turn around and hit those shots in the wind I felt like there was going to be on 17.
And after you won Pebble, you talked about kind of trying to play more conservative and limit mistakes. And did that pursuit of trying to do that this year help this week with, kind of like Doug said, of maybe struggling with the driver a little bit, struggling with the swing?
Yeah, I think there's both. There's that part of it where just trying to get the ball in play any way that I can. But then also, I feel like this week, because there's so much trouble, just picking really conservative targets, especially with iron shots, like even into 16 in the playoff there. I had a wedge in my hand, but I'm still aiming 30 feet left of the hole. I'm not going at it. And I think that, all of that combined, with the fact that I feel like I'm controlling my ball much better in the wind these days, I think that's a big part of it as well.
Come over here to Gene Burnett.
Rory, yesterday after the round was over, you lamented not closing the door. But now that you've gone through this playoff on a Monday morning, how much do you feel that could benefit you in case at majors or whatever you get into a playoff? How much would benefit from that? And as a follow-up, did you feel comfortable that the wind was gusting as much as it was?
Yeah, honestly, standing over that tee shot on 16 this morning is the most nervous I've been in a long time. So I think that will stand to me, feeling like that and being able to hit the golf shots that I need while, your stomach's sort of not feeling great and your legs are a little shaky and your heart rate is racing. To have to go through that today, it's nice to have that in recent memory for some of the tournaments coming up for sure. And then with I would have preferred not to have played in such gusty conditions this morning. I'm definitely thankful that we didn't have to play 18 holes in that. It was only 3, but that was as tough as the course had played all week. I felt like.
Taylor Zarzour.
Rory, along those lines, how much work is required in maintaining or improving your mindset? And can you give us a sense of how you try to do that in the next 3 weeks?
I think just double down on what I'm doing, double down on the work that I've been doing at home, double down on the the conversations I've been having with Bob Rotella, all that sort of stuff. It's just continuing to do the same things. I'm feeling really comfortable, as I said, with how I'm flighting my ball in the wind. I feel like I'm always trying to refine what I have. I'm certainly a proponent of it. If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. And everything feels like it's in good working order at the minute. And yeah, as I said, just keep practicing on the right, and doing the right things and practicing the right habits. And day after day, week after week, they all add up to days like today.
We're going to go David, Bob, and then Gabby.
Right. Over here, Rory. You said this side, Rory. Yeah.
Oh,
Rory, you said that you feel a more complete player at the moment than you have at any stage of your career. What is it you think that you've added or improved on significantly?
I'm a better putter. I'm better around the greens. I can flight my ball better in the wind. My ability to shape shots both ways. I'd say those are the things. Really, managing myself more around. By no means that I have my best stuff this week, but I'm still able to win one of the biggest tournaments in the world. That's a huge thing.
And you were asked about the legacy as somebody who's won this twice and won more than one major, and you knew straight away the company you were in. Were you aware of that going out, or was that something?
Yeah, I'd seen it, but I'd seen it somewhere that Jack, Tiger, and Scotty were the only 3 with multiple players and multiple majors, and it's a nice club to be a part of.
Bob Herrick.
Rory, obviously, we all know how hard it is to win, but in your case, it almost seems like when you get there and you're up there like you were yesterday, there's an expectation that you're supposed to. And I'm just wondering if that's even unfair. I mean, obviously you put yourself there a lot. If you'd have just shot, say, 71 yesterday, you're not even in the conversation and nobody really thinks about it. But you pushed yourself in front, and then you almost seemed disappointed last night. And I'm just wondering how that works for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I put myself in that position and I'm leading by 3 with 6 holes to go, I expect myself to win, and it's more my expectations rather than anyone else. But when you don't get it done, I was disappointed that I needed to come back this morning, but I didn't, I couldn't let that mind frame linger for too long, and I had to reset and try to get a good night's sleep and come out this morning, committed to get the job done. So, that was the thing. I got here just as early as I would get here for an 18-hole round and went through my full warm-up. I was in the gym at 6:15 and went through my whole workout, and I give myself plenty of time and did all the things that I had to do to get myself ready, and I went out there and hit the shots that I needed to in the end.
Also, real quick, you're closing in on 30 PGA Tour wins, and obviously, if you probably had only played over here, you might be well past it. But do you even see anybody coming close to that down the road? I mean, when you look at that number now, it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare air these days.
Yeah. I don't know. Scotty keeps having 9-win seasons. He's going to get there pretty quick. I'm sure, there's, some guys have the ability to certainly get there. But yeah, all I can do is focus on myself and try to keep playing the best golf that I can. But there's no reason why others can't. You put the work in and you do the right things. You're able to do some pretty cool stuff.
We'll go over to your right with Gabby.
Rory, you talked about resetting. How different were you feeling last night versus this morning?
Yeah, I would say I was a little disappointed last night, but I also was mindful that I couldn't feel that way, that I needed to reset. So once I got back to the hotel, I just tried to sort of forget about it and had some room service, watched a little bit of Devil Wears Prada, and went to bed. And that was basically it. So, and then when I woke up this morning, I woke up at 3 this morning and couldn't get back to sleep. So I was, I was as nervous as I can remember. So yeah, there's a lot of thoughts that are racing through your head, and you're trying not to look at your phone, and you're trying to sleep, and but I was up, but yeah, I was a little anxious this morning, and I just knew I needed to get off to a good start. Especially, I knew the wind was going to be up. I knew some of those shots were going to be really, really tough, and I was just really focused on trying to make good swings. I said it last night, but I really just needed to make 5 good swings today, and I made 3 good swings on 16 and 17, and that was basically enough to get it done. And
I'm totally forgetting my question.
You're thinking of Devil Wears Prada, aren't
yeah,
you? Yeah,
great movie. But no, I remembered it now. You've been backing off of a lot of shots this week. Do you think you're doing that more than you normally do? Is that a concerted effort?
No, it's just the wind's so gusty, and you just get a gust, and I'm standing over, and it's like, do I back off? Do I not back off? And I don't know. I seem to back off more than others, maybe, and I don't know if I'm just more sensitive to the wind or the gusts than some others. But when it gets gusty like that, I do. I want to feel totally comfortable when I'm over the ball and pulling the trigger.
Paul, go ahead.
Rory, in one of your interviews out on the green, you said you told Harry that this little shot would take you far. Just wondering why you believe that, and just if you feel like controlling the ball better in the wind is like what has been behind that improvement for you.
Again, like going back to the ball change earlier in the year, it's sort of forced me to play more shots like that. It's a little spinnier ball. It launches a touch lower, so if I get it up in the wind with the spin, the variation of distance can be quite a bit. So the ball change has really forced me to do that. And, the first time I worked on it a lot was at Pebble Beach. And, we had to contend with some really windy conditions there at the weekend and played well in that. and look, we play an outdoor sport for the most part, apart from Mondays and Tuesday nights, that you're going to have to contend with the wind, and you're going to have to. I think back to the second round at Augusta last year. It was so gusty, and I maybe didn't have all the shots that were required to go out and shoot something under par that day. So just when the conditions come like that, I just feel like I'm a lot better prepared to handle them. Especially, it's been okay off the tee, but it's flighting the sort of wedges and the short irons, which have been the the issue, and I feel like I've been able to rectify that.
Ryan, front row.
Rory, two things. One, why do you think you're so nervous this morning?
I think I said this out in the green too, but I think back in 19, I maybe didn't appreciate how big this tournament was and how much it meant. Every time we come back to this tournament, it gets bigger and better each and every year, from the golf course to the facility for the players, for the facilities for the fans. It feels like I don't want to put any sort of label on it, but it is one of the biggest championships in the world, and that, I think that was part of the reason. And because I didn't get it done last night, and I really wanted to, I think that was, and as well, look, I'm going out there today, and you're going back to a point, like I'm expected to win as well, and that brings its own pressure in some way, but I felt like I handled everything and handled those nerves really well.
And secondly, JJ told us that he's had times in his career where he's been afraid of the moment, essentially not wanting to get his heart broken again. You've talked a lot about your resilience throughout the course of your career. Does his line of thinking resonate with you at all? Absolutely.
I think we've all had periods where we've felt like that, and like I've had to go through it. I've had my heart broken a lot over the last few years when I've had chances on some days and it hasn't quite materialized, and but we all have to go through it, or at least all of us not named Tiger Woods. So it's a part of the process. It's a part of the learning journey, and ultimately those are the days that make us better.
Joel?
Rory, off that comment about nerves, you've obviously been in this position a lot throughout your career. Does it surprise you that you still get nervous in these situations? Do you look at it as a good thing that you still care? How do you just combat when you feel that way?
It doesn't surprise me. I think it's a really good thing. People say pressure is a privilege, and it really is. You want to feel like that on the course. That's why I spend the time that I do practicing and trying to master my craft. That you get yourself in those positions to see what you're made of. And again, super proud of the three swings I made on 16 and 17 to basically get the job done. And I mentioned something earlier in the week where how do you drown out the bad thoughts and replace them with the positive ones? And I just think you have to try really hard to make those positive thoughts just a little stronger and a little more powerful than the negative ones. We all get negative thoughts, but it's how do you deal with those, and how do you reframe and replace those with what you want to see and what you want to do. Because even walking from the 16th green to the 17th tee today, I could see myself hitting it in the water, right? So it's something that will crosses your mind, and it's like, okay, well, how do I replace that thought with a better one and visualize and get myself into the moment? And I've practiced hard at that, and definitely getting better at it.
I'll come to the side of the room with you.
You had openly pondered playing between now and the Masters. Does this make you more inclined to do that, or do you want to go in on this high? How do you think about that now?
No, I think 3 weeks off going in is it's a little too much. So I'll play one of the events in Texas, whether it's Houston or San Antonio. I'm sure. Yeah.
Evan, go ahead.
Rory, curious if you have a ritual after winning a tournament, and historically, have you celebrated victories much, or have you been towards the Tiger Woods, this is normal type of celebration?
There's certainly no ritual. Feels strange to win a golf tournament at 10 o'clock in the morning and feel like I can't have a drink yet. So it is St. Patrick's Day, though. Not really. I think there's some that I've celebrated more than others, but yeah, there has been some instances where I've maybe not celebrated enough. I think I go back to Padraig Harrington always said that. He said that he wished he had celebrated his wins more, because as you get on in your golf career, and I've been very lucky to win a lot, you still don't win all that often. So yeah, you want to celebrate them, and you want to make sure that they're meaningful in some ways. But it's nice. I've got a few days off now, so I'll be able to have a good time tonight, and maybe feel the effects tomorrow.
All right, we'll go back to Fergie, then Shupak.
What's the difference in nerves when you're trying to win compared with trying not to lose?
I think they're sort of the same. They're at least the same feelings. But I think trying to win and being in that mindset, it can eradicate some of those feelings. If you play to win and you hit an aggressive shot and you hit a really good shot, I think that can relax you, and it can calm your nervous system. Where if you're playing real sort of guidey golf and just trying to, as you say, not lose, I don't think that sort of golf calms you down. If anything, I think it just keeps you in that sort of heightened nervous state. So yeah, it's much better to play to win. And I think as well, if you play to win and you don't hit the shot that you want to hit, I think you can live with that. But if you play to not lose, you're never really giving yourself the best opportunity, and that's hard to swallow. And I've done that before at times in my career.
Try to play not to lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even though this feels like 2 years ago, that shot you hit on 2 yesterday that set up your birdie eagle start, what was that?
It was a 4-iron from, I think it was 225, straight back into the wind. That was probably the swing of the week. Yeah, that was pretty much perfect.
Adam, go ahead.
Rory, the three-quarter shot, is that something that Butch Harmon taught you or suggested?
No, it's a shot that I've always had with the wedges, but I've been reluctant to use it with 9-iron, 8-iron, 7-iron down. But this year I've gotten more into using that shot with some of those lower clubs, like the 9-iron on 17, the 8-iron at the last today. But no, that's a shot that I've always really had. But I've just started to get more comfortable using it with longer clubs.
Are you a guy who celebrates St. Patrick's Day? Does it carry some spirit?
Not really. I was looking for something green to wear today, but didn't have anything with me. It's a pretty big deal in Ireland, but it's definitely, I feel like you guys take it to another level here. So.
And last for me, is there any cute backstory on the little flower you have with?
Yeah, Poppy picked it for me. She gave it to me just after I won. So I think there was one more flower on it, but it disintegrated in my back pocket. But I kept most of it. But yeah, she gave it to me.
We've heard Will, and then to Ian.
Will Brown, WJCT Public Media. You mentioned earlier that you came to appreciate this championship more after you won it in 2019. Having the extended period of being the Players' Champion, did that help you appreciate this place, this tournament, and the ability to win this tournament?
Yeah, I don't think it took me winning this championship to realize how big it was. I think it was more that, we come back to TPC Sawgrass each and every year, and I just feel like the experience gets better and better, from a player's perspective, from a fan's perspective. What the tour do with this whole setup, with the golf course, everything, it's amazing. Like, just during that 4-hour rain delay or storm delay yesterday, there was a few of us in the locker room chatting, and we were all, sort of consensus was that it's probably the best experience for a player of any golf tournament in the world. It's absolutely amazing, and very proud to win for a second time, and I'm looking forward to keep coming back for many more years.
All right, we have time for 2 more. We're going to go to Ashley and then finish with Bob.
Hey, Rory. Ashley Gonzalez, First Coast News. So you've been in the game for a long time, since you were a teenager. Every time you win, do you reconnect with your inner child at all, the one who fell in love with the game a long time ago?
Yeah, I do. But yeah, like I remember watching Davis Love win here, back on that sort of rainy Sunday when he wouldn't take his rain jacket off because of the superstition. And I remember watching that with my dad at home. Remember Craig Perks chipping in from the back of the green. Tiger's putt, obviously, in 2001. Like, I was always excited to sit down and watch this tournament as a kid. And yeah, to think that I've won this now for, a couple of times, and, I've been coming here since 2009. 10-year-old Rory would think this is really, really cool.
All right, Bob, bring us home.
Rory, you referenced this a little while ago. There were some disappointments for you last year, not just the U.S. Open, but afterward. You had a couple of close calls that were, I'm sure hurt too. But yet in the totality of it now, when you look back, 3 more wins since then, a lot of high finishes. I'm wondering how much that might have impacted your winning now, or was there a low point that you might have turned things around, that helped you turn things around?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I turned things. U.S. Open was hard. The Irish Open was hard. I bogeyed 15 and 17 on the way in there, and that was a hard one to lose at home. But I feel like where it started to turn around was the next week at Wentworth. Billy Horschel beat me in the playoff at Wentworth, but the way I played down the stretch then was like, that's the way I want to play. It's the one I want to play down the stretch. And like, I lost to an eagle when Billy held that putt on 18 in the playoff, but that was I think that was sort of like the turning point. And then I did some work on my swing after Wentworth, sort of October, and then went into the 2 Middle East events at the end of the year and was able to win that one. So I feel that period, like October, November, was a pretty important one. And I was able to do some good work on my swing, and then test it out pretty much straight after in a couple of tournaments. And I feel like that's obviously carried into this year. And when it doesn't feel like I'm making those mistakes at the critical times like I was previously. And and I think a big part of that is just learning from those mistakes. And it's a long career. You have to stay incredibly patient. And I would say that some of those losses have helped me learn what to do when I'm in those positions again.
All right, we'll wrap up there. Rory, thank you for joining us in the Media Center. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.